I think he asked Big Bill Brunsey. He says, Big Bill, that blues music you play, you call that folk music? And Big Bill says, well, I never heard no horses sing none of it. I told you not to mention wild folk dancing.
Here's an old Uncle Dave Macon song, and he used to introduce it this way. He'd say, well, good people, I wagon and farm for over 20 years. And the style of my wagon and firm was the Macon Midway Mule and Mitchell Wagon Transportation Company, situated on a dividing line and operated by gentlemen on and off of time. Main office 8 1/4 mile East Main Street, Murfreesboro, and 10 3/4 mile West Main Street, Woodbury, Tennessee. Now here's my song. I remember the years I began to haul, it was during the summertime. Back in them good old days, you could buy whiskey, beer, and wine. I'd walk right into every saloon, strictly up to time. There never was a night I didn't ride home, boozing to the end of the line. I've been wagoning for 20 years and working on a farm. I bet $100 to have a ginger kick, I'm here when the trucks are gone. Oh, well, I tell you right now, when the bone dry come, you can't find whiskey that's good. So I give up all of my drinking, and I'm going to serving God. I love to go to big meetings, I'm going to tell you why. Because I love to sing and pray to God, great heaven, when I die. I've been wagoning for 20 years and working on the farm. I bet $100 to have a ginger kick, I'm here when the trucks are gone. While I hold my line. But when my feet and my body get cold, I'm walking half the time. I talk right to my power, they understand my call. And when I holler, hey, get her all, they know just how to walk. I've been wagoning for 20 years and working on a farm. I bet $100 to have a ginger kick, I'm here when the trucks are gone. Can go quick and fast, a wagon has not the speed. But 6 good mules and a Mitchell wagon is a favorite, yes indeed. I'm on my way to heaven, gotta tell you just how I feel. I'd rather ride a wagon and go to heaven than to hell in an automobile. I've been wagoning for 20 years and working on a farm. I bet $100 to have a ginger kick, I'm here when the trucks are gone. Hot dog!
Well, good people, we've been here doing this show for quite a while. Welcome to Horses Sing None of It. Today with Ralph Whitman and myself, we have a great guest here today. You're going to love this man. Where is he? Where? We've been looking for him all over the place. He said, but Jim Alberrtson happens to be sitting right next to me. Are you the guest for today? What's the story here?
I think so.
We started off with a little bit of a story because Jim used to be one of the founding members of Bottle Hill Band, and you were telling me Sing Out magazine right now has one of your members on its
right,
cover.
current issue has Walt Michael on the cover, who is a premier hammer dulcimer player. And many moons ago, we put together, it was a trio at the time. It was Walt, myself, and Lou London, who's known as the Eastern King of Western Swing in some dark alleys. And we enjoyed playing for quite a while, and then different members of the group were added. Barry Mitterhoff, who's a well-known mandolin player. And the group got bigger and bigger and went more and more into bluegrass, and then various members, including myself, went our separate ways. And the last time we were together, we were talking about getting all of the past members of the group together for a reunion, and somebody suggested renting the convention hall in Atlantic City. That's about the only building that would hold all of the members of this musical aggregation.
Yes, we have been to a couple parties where there have been many, many members of this band, and they keep on coming in. But Jim himself is a storyteller and a person that's been traveling around the country doing shows, doing performances for schools, doing performances for, well, you tell me.
Bar mitzvahs, funerals, you name it.
You name it. He's been around doing it.
Actually, the kind of material that I like the best, I had been learning a lot of songs and stories from all over the place, and I ran into Joe Hickerson one time, who's the director of the American Folk Archive down at the Library of Congress. And he always recommends to people to explore your own backyard first. And I did. I found out that in the Pine Barrens and some of the cities, in fact, in New Jersey, there are a lot of good songs and stories that have been passed on in a traditional folk style over the years. Some have been collected by academic researchers, and some are still out there floating around in the air somewhere. And probably one of the first, if not the first, indigenous folk song actually of, by, and about the state of New Jersey is a song that comes from a little town called Mount Holly down in Burlington County. There's an old building down there that was designed by a famous architect. He was a good friend of Thomas Jefferson, a man by the name of Robert Mills, who is also responsible for many of the public buildings in Washington, D.C., and he was the man that designed and built the Washington Monument. This particular building in Mount Holly, New Jersey, today it's a museum, but many years ago, from 1810 all the way up to 1964, it served an entirely different function. Some of the residents of that building over the years created this folk song, and they passed it on, and it's called the Mount Holly Jail. Follow the bouncing fiddle. When you go to Mount Holly, it's there you will find an old stone jailhouse, leave all joy behind. There's bugs as big as fat quail. You'll sure go lousy in the Mount Holly jail. And it's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in Mount Holly jail. Well, the soup that they serve you is not very sweet. It's full of little worms crawling through moldy meat. That's the way they serve soup at the Mount Holly jail. They serve it to you in a big garbage pail. And it's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in Mount Holly jail. I might explain in this next line, they mention a hotel. Well, a hotel is an entirely different thing in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. It's nothing more than a bar. There's no rooms for overnight visitors. It's just a fancy way of saying bar. Well, there's old Sheriff Townsell. I almost forgot. He's the biggest old joker in the whole doggone lot. Your pockets he'll pick, your clothes he will sell. He'll spend all your money in his brother's hotel. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in Mount Holly jail. Well, there's one other feller I'd like you to know. Every Sunday morning we get Preacher Joe. He will stand up real straight, the truth he will tell. to save all the prisoners from going to Atlantic City. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in Mount Holly jail. Let's do it once more. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in the Mount Holly jail. It's hard times in Mount Holly jail. Yes, it is.
Jim Alberrtson for you all. We're going to take a break and be right back with you after this.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
We pledged our allegiance to it when we were young.
The flag was still there.
We studied its importance when we were in our teens.
He saw the flag.
We sing its praises at every sporting event. We display it when we celebrate.
Present. Huh.
Lower it when we mourn.
Our flag is presented on behalf of a grateful nation.
And honor our heroes with it when they've fallen. The flag of the United States of America. It stands for what we are and what we believe in. How we treat it says a lot about us.
Dummy. You're pathetic.
You little brass.
Child abuse is also known by some other words.
Jerk.
You moron.
You're so clumsy.
Words like these can hit as hard as a fist.
You were never born. I hate you.
What you say to your children can determine how they feel about
You
themselves
slob. You're worthless.
and how they feel about you. Get the picture. Stop using words that hurt. Start using words that help. For helpful information, contact us.
Well, howdy. The confusion is benign and benironed out here on Horses Sing None of It, too. And my name is Ralph Litwin, co-host Lou Gelfond here, and our special guest today is Mr. Jim Alberrtson. So, folks, Jim, tell us, what about this next thing you got cooked up here?
Well, many years ago, just like a lot of people from different parts of the country, fiddlers, musicians, singers in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey would borrow tunes and ideas that they heard, and they would localize them, adapt characters and locations from their particular area, and create a whole new song. So a lot of people will recognize this tune immediately, and this is probably one of the best known fiddle tunes in the repertoire of the old fiddlers from the Pine Barrens. We have an old fiddler here today
Yes, he's going to come right on in just a moment.
help
We have
us
a little
out.
fiddler. Oh, yeah.
So this song tells
I'll
what
take his
happens
place before
when
he gets here.
when a city slicker from Philadelphia gets lost one day in the Pine Barrens on his way to the shore. Well, once upon a time near a pine tree small, an old man sat by his little cabin door, fiddled at a tune that he liked to hear, jolly old tune that he fiddled by ear. Raining hard and the man didn't care, and he fiddled away at the popular air. His roof it leaked like a waterfall, didn't seem to bother the man at all. With a wait a minute. Say there, old timer, I've been driving around here for a couple hours now. I seem to be lost. Yeah, you look lost. I am lost. How far is it from here to Philadelphia? About 30,000 miles in the direction you're traveling. No, you don't understand. What I mean is, that road over there, does that road go to Philadelphia? That road there? No. Every morning I get up at sunrise. I look out my window at that road. There it sets. It don't go nowhere. No. What I mean is, can I take that road to Philadelphia? Oh, you better not. Folks around here get up tomorrow and find that road missing, you're in trouble, buddy. Look, if you're not going to be any help to me, how far is it to the nearest house? I don't know. They ain't never invited me over. Look, it's getting late, it's getting dark, and I'm getting cold and tired and hungry. How about if I stay here tonight? No, can't do that. It's been raining for 3 days and my roof leaks. Well, wait a minute. It's not raining today. Why don't you get on up there and fix your roof? My roof don't leak when it ain't raining. I don't want to stay here anyway. This place is a mess. It's a pig pen. It's a buffalo holler. In fact, I'll bet you have bed bugs. Bed bugs? Hold on there, stranger. I don't have a single bed bug around here. It's good to know. Hey, wait a minute. I thought you just told me you don't have a single bed bug around here. That's right. All my bed bugs is married and has large families. Hey, wait a minute. There's something flying around in here. What is that thing? Oh, that? Don't pay no attention to that. That's just the official state bird of New Jersey, the mosquito. Oh, this is ridiculous. You know something? There's not much separating you from a fool. That's right, just the fence in front of you. I could have been mean and said the fiddler between us, but I didn't say it there. You know something? You are the closest thing to a fool I've ever met. Yep, but if you keep your mouth shut, nobody'll notice. You are without a doubt the biggest fool I've ever met in all my born days. Yep, that's true. But I do know one thing. Oh yeah? What's that? I ain't lost. Well, once upon a time near a pine tree small, an old man sat by his little cabin door. Fiddle at a tune that he liked to hear, jolly old tune that he fiddled by ear. Raining hard and the man didn't care, and he fiddled away at the popular air. Roof it leaked like a waterfall, didn't seem to bother the man at all with a...
Jim Alberrtson here, telling us some stories, doing some wild things, playing some tunes. Jim, we never know exactly what you're going to do. I think you're one of the punsterous guys we know around.
I'm not going to dance. I refuse to dance.
You're not going to dance?
No, sirree.
Well, you live down in the town of Millville?
Yes, I lived for 20 years in Morristown, not the Morristown where George Washington tied his horse, but South Jersey, M-A-U-R-I-C-E, Morristown. And we moved recently up to Millville. I'm doing some programming for a place called Wheaton Village, which is a replica glass town. There's a wonderful glass museum there and an old-time glass factory and all kinds of shops and things.
I seem to remember about the end of September, mostly, you do a festival down there.
We're going to be having a South Jersey Regional Folk Festival and a couple of the programs. One of the big banjo concerts, Ralph is involved in that. And a lot of good things happening down there below Trenton where people actually do live and play music and such.
Lots of good music, I'm sure you've got lined up. Right?
That's right. There's plenty to do down around there.
So, do you have something else for us? Another tune we can do here?
Yes, I was very pleased to be asked to do this song for a film that was made several years ago for the New Jersey television network, the public network. And it was a film called Schooners on the Bay. Ralph's holding a copy of my record, which is on the Folkways label. And that oyster schooner there is the Samuel Jacoby. And I found information about this song and the way the oystermen sang it years ago from an old-timer down in Newport, New Jersey. And I guess if I can plug my record, if anybody's interested, it's available from Rounder Records, which is on 1 Camp Street in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Right off the top of my head, I don't know the zip code, but I'm sure if you're really interested, you can find it.
Lots of stories?
Lots of stories and lots of songs from southern New Jersey.
Yeah, my son gets off on listening to it, too. We have a copy of it.
And this is one of them.
Enjoy it.
Right here, this particular song. While I relate my story, you oystermen give ear. Jacoby's fading glory you presently shall hear. Now give me your attention. You will plainly see that the Eloisa Moore can beat the Samuel Jacoby. Ring, ring your bells at the dawning of the day. The Moore's the fastest boat around to sail the Delaware Bay. Oystermen, ring your fog bells to let the people see. The Eloisa Moore can beat the Samuel Jacoby. Here comes old Sam Spencer, he's always hanging round. It's nothing but the Jacoby whenever he's in town. He goes into the store, he sets upon a stool. Why, it's enough to make the people think that he's a perfect fool. Singing, ring, ring your bells at the dawning of the day. The Moore's the fastest boat around to sail the Delaware Bay. Oystermen, ring your fog bells to let the people see. The Eloisa Moore can beat the Samuel Jacoby. We were sailing up the Delaware, as low we had no wind, when the Eloisa Moore had to take her topsail in. We arrived at Philadelphia, we harbored there all night. The Samuel Jacoby arrived at first daylight. William Peterson was our captain, Willie Newcomb was the mate. Willa Dow was our pot wrestler, he cooked us what we ate. Dave Robbins and Harry Gates were the men before the mast. The whole crew's heart just swelled with pride as we went sailing past, singing, ring, ring your bells at the dawning of the day. The Moore's the fastest boat around to sail the Delaware Bay. Oystermen, ring your fog bells to let the people see. The Eloisa Moore can beat the Samuel Jacoby. Uh-oh, look out. Here comes Seth and Billy. They jammin' but a word. I think it would be better now if they were seen, not heard. With this I'll end my song. I hope it wasn't long, but we can beat the Samuel Jacoby each time she comes along. Singing, ring, ring your bells at the dawning of the day. The Moore's the fastest boat around to sail the Delaware Bay. Oystermen, ring your fog bells to let the people see that the Eloisa Moore has beat the Samuel Jacoby.
All right, Mr. Alberrtson. We're going to take a little break now to bring you some important, no doubt, information.
Every year, thousands of people are killed with a frying pan. Reduce your intake of high-fat fried foods and help reduce your risk of cancer and heart disease. For a free booklet on low-fat eating, call 1-800-EAT-LEAN.
People in the National Guard and Reserve make up over 40% of our nation's combat-ready forces. It's a job that requires them to face some very big challenges. So please, don't make their biggest challenge asking you for time off to do their training.
Mr. Aldridge, you, got a minute?
Be a hero. Give your employees the freedom to protect ours.
Personal best can be found all over this country. On the sports field, in the schoolroom, in the home, on the job. Anywhere people face a difficult challenge and say, yes, I can.
The Foundation for Exceptional Children is searching for disabled young people who do their personal best. The Yes, I Can program honors these children in special ways.
Because we know that depending on a person's disability, it can be a great victory to learn a musical instrument, use a pencil, hold a job, or button a shirt. And these victories deserve proper recognition.
Each year, the Foundation's Yes, I Can program honors children in recognition of their very special accomplishments.
If you know someone we should honor, write to Yes, I Can, Foundation for Exceptional Children, Reston, Virginia, 22091.
Let's encourage these kids to keep on saying, yes, I can.
You know, Lou, Ralph was a big influence on me. In fact, on my second recording, I learned a song from Ralph, and I recorded it and dedicated it to Ralph. This is not it, but this is about how a banjo is made. Well, I had an old dog and his name was Blue. Had an old dog and his name was Blue. Had an old dog and his name was Blue. And I bet you $5 is a good dog too. And it's hey ho Blue, you good dog, you. Well, Blue chased a possum up a cement tree. Blue chased a possum up a cement tree. Blue chased a possum up a cement tree. Blue looked at the possum and he grinned at me. And it's hey ho Blue, yoo-hoo, you good dog, you. You know something, fellas? Old Blue, he was a good possum hunting dog. Grandpa would take that possum meat and make up a good stew and then skin that possum out, stretch the possum hide on a drying board. When that skin was stretched real good, he'd put it across the banjo ring, make a nice banjo head out of that possum hide. Old Blue was such a good possum dog. If Grandpa put a small drying board up against the side of the house, Blue would look at it, he'd go out in the woods, he'd catch a small possum. If he saw a medium-sized board, he'd catch a medium-sized possum. And if he saw a big board, of course, he'd go out and bring in a big possum. Well, one morning, Grandma spilled some orange juice on her ironing board. So she stuck the ironing board up against the side of the house to dry in the sun. Old Blue come by and took one look. Oh, his nose went up like an infield fly at Shea Stadium. He took off into the woods, and he was gone for 7 days and 7 nights. And when he came back, he was dragging a grizzly bear by the scruff of the neck. That's how banjos are made. Well, I had an old dog and his name was Blue. I had an old dog and his name was Blue. I had an old dog and his name was Blue. And I bet you $5 is a good dog too. And it's hey ho Blue, you good dog, you. All right.
Mr. Jim Alberrtson here today with us. Thank you, Jim, for coming down. We just have a minute or two left. And thank you, good people, for looking in on Horses Sing None of It. We have a lot of fun for the show and hope that you do too. And we're real glad to have Jim down here today.
Good to be here. I guess we'll do a little tin whistle tune and dulcimer thing to roll out on here. Over the waterfall. Let's get wet, fellas.
mother's darling boy, I am my mother's pride and joy. I am my mother's darling boy. Sing a little tune called Soldier's Joy. Drink all day, dance all night, that's what makes me feel alright. Drink all day, dance all night, that is Soldier's Joy.